5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are live on the air. Hi, my name is Paul Duchesne, and this is Mama Paul's video podcast. Today is Friday, July the 10th, 2020, and we're going to talk a little about politics, maybe read a poem or two. I'd like to drink some tea if we have at the end. I used to do this regularly. Rachel Maddow, used to have a drink at the end of her show. She hasn't had one in a couple of years either. So it's hard to fit these other little... one second. Hold on a second. Yeah, who's calling? Bill? Is that right, Bill? Mr. Barr, Bill Barr, the famous Bill Barr. My goodness. Holy mackerel. You know, you're in the paper like, every other day. You know, I can't read the paper without seeing your name someplace. You know, no, not the front page. No, I know that. No, not the front page. No, you're more like 12, 15, 18, sort of the middle or the tail end, When your boss does it, I know he likes to be on page number 1. Right. So, do I have a ruler? Yeah, I got a ruler. I got a couple of rulers. I got a nice metal ruler. I got a plastic ruler. I got a really big. You don't need the ruler right now. Later. You're gonna use the ruler later. Okay. You gonna show me something? What? Yeah, you probably a little show and tell. I'm sure. So listen, what's going on? Hey, before we get into that, I've got a. Now this is really cool. I wrote a little poem about you. I see you so much in the paper, and I'm sort of compulsive like this, So I saw you in the paper, and I wanted to do a little something. So I wrote a little poem, and what do you think? You want to hear it? Yeah? Okay. It's called Bill Barr, Bill Barr, okay? It's the Bill Barr poem, BB. Bill Barr, Bill Barr, the bill is overdue for all the difficult things you're putting us through. If we simply bar Bill Barr from the bar and put Bill Barr behind bars, we'd all be better off. And I can stop trying to find B words to make a better end of this bombastic broadside against Bill Barr. What do you think of? I haven't seen a picture of you laughing. I could look all day long and you can't find a picture of you ever smiling. Well, that's remarkable. That's nice to see. I got a smile out of your face. That's good. So listen, what's happening with the ruler? You still want to get into the ruler thing? Yeah, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. Well, I know. Well, you are, once again, boom, you've completely undermined the rule of law. I mean, how many people could take credit for that? Seriously, how many people could take credit for that? I mean, you broke it, right? So if you break it, you're going to fix it? How do you go about? How do you think you're gonna? If you broke it, how do you think you're gonna go about fixing it? What are you kidding me or what? Come on, huh? What do I look stupid? Oh my God, you're kidding? You're gonna do it with an R? Just one R is gonna fix the whole problem? Son, look, hey, you are pretty. You are a clever guy. You turned the rule, so we get rid of the rule of law, and now you're the ruler of the law. At the rate you're going. You are going to be elevated to a higher status than you think. Yeah, that's more like it, right? Well, Moses brought down the 10 Commandments, and you've sort of brought down the entire rule of law. So you are getting rather godlike. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, the big one. You really got. It was May 22nd. I remember it vividly. I take notes at night when I watch the news or the paper, and it was May 22nd. I'll never forget it. Yeah, it was the high point of your career. Well, you had already done Roger Stone a little bit and Michael Flynn. Well, when you came out with the Michael Flynn thing, that poor judge, and then it gets sent to another court, and then it gets sent to a third group who's part of this committee. I mean, you had it so... I read the article twice. I gave it to my wife to read. She said, whoa, what are they doing here? I said, well, listen, we'll turn on Rachel later in the evening, and she'll probably have a good explanation for it. So we turn on Rachel. Well, son of a gun. I've never heard her say it. She said it. She was flummoxed. Yeah, I like that word too, flummoxed. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good word. Complete case of classic obfuscation, which you guys are really, really, really good at. And this guy was on, some intelligence guy was on her show, Rick Grinnell, yeah. And he said you were flooding the zone with excrement. Yeah, you were throwing all over the thing. Listen, you throw so much on there, nobody can make out what the heck's going on. Well, that is the point. You know, you said the same day you said history was going to be written by the winners. It's nothing exactly original, but you know you're not the first one to say it. But you did say it that same day. History was written by the winners, and you're not in jail yet, and neither is your boss. So if neither one of you guys are in jail, then you've got it up on us. That's for sure, no doubt about it. You know, I got another phone coming in. It's my afterlife phone. So hold on 1 second. Yeah, can you hold on 1 second? I'll be right there. Listen, Bill. Yeah, listen. If you wind up in jail, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a call. I know those prison calls are very complicated and they're expensive. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to call you. All right, goodbye. Goodbye now. Whoa. Where is he at? Okay. Whoa. Yeah. So, who's on the phone? Hello. Hey, Dick. Yeah, you said you were going to call back in a couple of weeks, and son of a gun, here you are. You know, I've been wanting to finish up that conversation I had with you, but first, let me ask you a question. How are things up? It's up there, right? It's not down there? Yeah, it's up there. I figured that. So how are things up there with you? It's not much better in heaven as it is on earth. Well, Jesus, that's not looking so good then. You're waiting for us to yeah, well, don't hold your breath right now. Well, there is quite a bit of movement going on. In fact, the VLM movement is it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's the biggest social movement that's happened in a long, long time. It's making the 60s look pale by comparison, which is hard to do. You know, I was going to say, I keep getting these guys. They claim to be conservative. Now, I used to. You don't think so either? It's a cover. Yeah, Bill Buckley. He was rolling over in his grave. Well, you would know. I wouldn't know. You know, you're up there with him. So what the heck, son of a gun? Listen. You read the article I wrote. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say it. I am not. The wife told me, she said, don't go down with it. I said, listen, it's called, I'm not going to say the word. I'm just not going to say. You don't even, I know you don't like, you don't even like to use the term the N-word. You'd rather say what it is. Yeah, but, you know, I'm not black. Yeah. Well, that's pretty obvious, you know. I can't say it. You can. I can't. It's as simple as that. And that's part of the problem. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. So, listen, from now on, I'll tell you what. I'm going to call it Whitey. Okay? So I wrote this piece, and it's called Whitey Whitey. Yeah, and I went downtown with it, and I gave it out. It was a Black Lives Matter movement. It's right after things had started, right? And I hand it out. Well, one guy reads it and he says, "Oh, this is very good," you know. And he tries to explain it to a few people. Well, about a half a dozen of them, they crushed it up and they threw it at me, ripped it up, crushed it up, threw it at me, bad-mouthed me. I'm getting yelled at. I'm getting. I felt like I was paper stoned. The term I used. I was paper stoned over the whole thing. They couldn't get past the first words. Honest to God, they could not get past the first words. Once they saw Whitey Whitey, that was it. It was over. There was no discussion, and that's part of the problem. Well, that's what the paper was about. It was about you and, yeah, Lenny Bruce. You know, Dustin Hoffman made a movie, and he plays Lenny Bruce, and he does the whole piece in it. In fact, if you want to see the piece, if anybody out there wants to see it, look up Lenny with Dustin Hoffman unbelievable. Very depressing life, but and he's a character that's in this marvelous Miss Marvelous something or other show that's on right now. But his life is very tragic, and he does the whole whitey whitey piece in there. And in the piece, well, he's at the Hungry Eye, and he calls out the first. He says, "Oh, is there a whitey here?" And there's another whitey over there. Well, then he goes through all the different nationalities in the room, and he calls out the Mix and the Spicks and the Kikes and the Goombas. And the only group that has its own letter are the Whitey Whiteys, and it's the N-word. So it's been so appropriated by the community and so disappropriated that the whole point he was making was by using it, you sort of defuse it. Use it and diffuse it. It's become a preacher here soon. Use it and diffuse. Well, that didn't happen, obviously. Yeah. And then I have a copy of your thing. You gave the whole thing at Kent State. And you called the student. You said the students had become the new whitey in America. I remember it very clearly. I had actually met some of those National Guardsmen that were at that were part of that shooting group. Yeah, we'll talk about that in another show and some other time. That was a weird time, boy. But the other thing about you, which I've always liked, is you dropped out sort of about the same time I did. Well, no, you dropped out actually before me, and you dropped out of Playboy, and you lost a whole bunch of weight, and yeah, you gave up your career, and you wrote the book, Dick Gregory's Natural Diet for Folks Who Eat. Cooking with Mother Nature. I remember the book, and you started jogging. There were pictures of you jogging all over Chicago, and so you had gone from like 200 plus pounds down to like 110 pounds, and vibrant and healthy, and you were preaching all this stuff. Nobody listened. No, I know. No. A few of them started jogging, but the community didn't exactly embrace the diet thing. No. No, in fact, when you get down to it, what is it? Deep fried chicken with the skin on. Coca-Cola, the menthol cigarettes. I don't know if they're still there, the menthols. Yeah, and the sugar. Forget about it. The whole diet is sugar. Jesus. Well, maybe there's still hope, There was a black gal on a yoga journal just recently. There was. And health food has gone mainstream, so, it might make some inroads, I think there's hope. I think there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Let's put it that way. Well, you're not. Well, why don't you look down this way? Maybe you'll find some light at the end of the tunnel. It could happen. Why don't we pick this up at another time? Oh, one more thing. Yeah, I was just reading it again. Yeah, I was just reading it recently. Well, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because Baldwin, in his book, it's sort of much like you. I dropped out sort of like you did, and I got into health food. And when I quit the phone company, I wrote this rather lengthy letter of resignation, pointing out that my participation in the company enabled them to be the company that they were and do the kind of things they did. Yeah, and Baldwin in Blues for Mr. Charlie, which we got it up on the side here. Blues for Mr. Charlie. This is remarkable. This is like back in the '60s. This guy's like a century ahead of his time. And he says here, this is right in the introduction. He says, "For we, the American people, have created him." Now, in this case, he's talking. It might as well be Trump. He's talking about the murder of Emmett Till and the brother of the guy who actually did the murder. He said, "We have created him. He is our servant. It is we who put the cattle prodder in his hands, and we are the responsible for the crimes that he commits. It is we who have locked him in the prison of his color." He goes on with a few more we references here and talks about how the white father is denying the black son. He said, "These are grave crimes indeed, and we have committed them and continue to commit them in order to make money." In order to make money. Yeah, you got to keep the economy going. It's sort of something like that, isn't it? All right, listen, if you want to call back in another week or so, I'd be really love to hear back from you. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, well, meanwhile, we're going to get on with it. And whoa, you know, I got the regular line coming in again. Okay, all right, Dick. Take care. Bye now. Yeah, who's calling? Holy mackerel! It's Putin's lover boy again. Jeepers! Holy mackerel! What are you doing there? You can't stay off the phone, can you? Did Bill Barr get a little bit too much time? Yeah, he did. Huh? Well, about 5 minutes I talked with him, and what are we? We're at so, you know, no more than absolutely no more. No. I don't want to talk with you that much. You know, I'm getting tired of listening to you. I mean, you're becoming you don't know anything about the Russian bounty. I didn't ask you anything about the Russian bounty. You didn't know there was a problem with the virus? I didn't ask you about the virus either. And there isn't any P-tape? Well, I didn't ask you about the P-tape. Your money? What about your tax filing? Fake news? What's fake? Whatever they say is fake? What are you talking about? Oh, your niece, Mary, right, Mary, your niece. Yeah, that was just secrets and bad blood inside the Trump family. Niece of the president writes of cheating as a way of life. Greed, betrayal. Oh, too much, never enough. How my family cheated the world's and the world's most created the world's most dangerous man. My, what a headline. It's all fake news, huh? You didn't have anything to do with it? You just want to, yeah, you want to clear the air. I can understand that, yeah. Well, was there anything else happening at your end there? You know, there's so many cute pictures of you and, there are, of you and your buddy there. It's one thing is for sure, you're definitely not in charge. There's no doubt in my mind about it. When it comes to you and these guys, you're definitely not in charge. The other one, you're practically, or that other little picture there, you're practically kissing the guy, for Christ's sake. I mean, the last time I saw you that romantic with anybody was back with, oh, was it your old Cohen, your old, no, Roy Cohen, no, not Michael Cohen, no, he's going in and out of jail this week. No, Roy Cohen, your old buddy back in the 80s, the guy that got you, yeah, that got you the contract with the mob in the city, right, that one, yeah, you and him at Studio 54. Yeah, in fact, there's a Roy Cohen movie on HBO right now. I believe it's on HBO. I don't remember the name of it, but if you can find it, yeah, it's pretty informative about your relationship. So listen, as far as the bounty goes, you don't think you were at the meeting? You were at the meeting. You don't remember whether you were there. What, you don't remember? What are you kidding? Yes, maybe no. Well, that's a good answer. You frequently say that. Maybe yes, maybe no, you know? You might have been tweeting. You're a tweeter. What do you do? Roll out of bed and start tweeting in the morning? All right, let's forget this. All right, forget that. You didn't know anything about that. All right, okay. The virus. You finally did it. You're right. We are number one. You're absolutely right. We're not number two. We're not number three. No. We're way ahead of Russia. We're way ahead of Brazil even. Yeah, we are number one. So we are. So you have made. Yeah, we made America. And the P-tape, huh? Well, listen, that's probably not going to come up till they'll hold that till the end, you know, and we'll hear about that. That's embarrassing. Well. What can I tell you? I mean, it's your life, not mine. You know, I mean, mine is bad enough. Never mind, but yours, Jesus. I mean, holy mackerel! Listen, you must be losing. You're slipping in the polls. What do you got? About 15-20% of those yahoos still believing you, and the rich guys. Yeah, they don't believe you, but you're making them money. So that's all. You're right. That's all they care about. That is all they care about, yeah, is making money. I know. So that thing with the with Mount Rushmore, what was that all about? Now you were going to be, it was practically like a fire up there, for Christ's sake. I know. Well, your crowd likes fires. Oh, they like fiery crosses. Just like Dad of the Ku Klux Klan. Boy, I say you are digging to the bottom of the barrel, let me tell you. Hey, you see the picture we just put up? That was you with Epstein. You know, Fox News had it on this week, and they blacked out Epstein. So there's you, right, with the wife, and there's Epstein. Now, what you guys had in common was, yeah, I know he said it, yeah, you said it, yeah, he liked girls like you like girls, and he liked young girls. I know he liked young girls, very young girls. You're not opposed either. So what, you go for guys and young girls? Is that your trip? Jesus. Hey, before I go, one thing. The moon was void. You know astrology a little bit, right? When the moon is void of cross, things get stuck, so to speak, right? So when you were inaugurated, the moon was void of course. You were going to that's what you got Bill Barr for. Well, you might be right on that one, but anyway, the other famous people who were there when the moon was void of cross, you remember who it was? It was it was Lincoln and Roosevelt, and in his last term, Roosevelt in his last term, he didn't finish, right? Harrison, and Kennedy. So you're getting in pretty good company with some interesting folks. You are, yeah. So the moon was void. So the point is this: there's a really good chance that you're not going to finish your term. Now, if that's going to happen, rather than get defeated in November, you're working to fix it right now. Well, let's say you can't. Let's say it's looking really, really bad. I mean, if we lose any more people right now, I mean, the Republicans are starting to come again. You know, they are. I'm telling you. Well, turn on some other station other than Fox, will you? You'll find out what's going on. Read the newspaper. All right. Well, look at the Huffington Post anyway. That's a look-like thing, right? You don't have to read anything there. Okay. You can just look at the pictures, and you can count how many times you're on the page. You might like that. But the point is this: just tell them the virus is no problem. Tell them the Afghanistan situation is all solved. And nothing else is wrong. And you're going to leave right now because you've made America great. And that's it. You walk away. You'll put your head, well, I know your head's usually held up anyway, but you'll put your head up. You'll be fine, you know? And you can just retire to, some slum in Rio de Janeiro maybe and hope that they don't, never mind, I'm just kidding. No, you'll go back to Mar-a-Lago. Listen, try not to call for a week or two, okay? I'm tired of hearing your voice right now. Okay, alrighty. Okay, goodbye, Donald. Bye-bye. Whoa. Wow. Whew. I tell you, some of these guys over there, they're not easy to deal with, and the stories just keep coming day after day, and you can't believe, you can barely. So the Russian bounty money was what, like a week ago? It seemed like the biggest story, you know, like Pussygate and all these other, you know, like they hit the paper for one day. Well, you think, well, whoa, this is going to be a really big thing, right? Well, by the second day, it was off the front page. It wasn't in the paper at all the third, fourth, or fifth day. It finally made it today back to a paper because one of the generals in the Pentagon said, well, if it's true, he's going to get really upset. So there's some minor hearing going on in Congress while they play their soap opera in the afternoon and enable all this stuff to continue. It just blows your mind sometimes. I was talking about the Flynn case. Well, this has got to be the most obtuse, ridiculous thing you can possibly imagine. This is today's paper. So today's paper, the judge, so the judge that was involved in this case here, the original judge here, Judge Sullivan, right? He tries Flynn. Flynn is in his court, he's convicted, and they're ready to sentence him. But Flynn is talking so much to the FBI, he's spilling his beans so much, that the judge says, let's hold off on putting him in jail, let him keep spilling the beans. Big mistake. So for the next 3 or 4 months, suddenly this whole new group of lawyers from the White House coming back of Flynn. And before you know it, Flynn is walking around and he's like, no, I didn't do this. I'm not guilty. They forced me into this. I was tricked into saying these things, yada, yada. And he's basically going against what the judge, and he's going to challenge the whole thing. So Sullivan has got him convicted and ready to jail him. Now the Justice Department comes in, and the Justice Department is going to challenge this judge's authority to do this. Well, in the middle of this, we get two other courts involved. We get another judge involved, Judge Gleason, who had put a bunch of mobsters away, and the Judicial Department, the Judiciary Department, gets a Miss Powell involved, and these guys are claiming that if they let Judge Sullivan rule on the case, it's going to harm the executive branch, which has prosecutorial power. It's going to hurt the executive branch's exclusive prosecutorial power. Now, this is like ludicrous. This is their claim. Now, the reason they're claiming this is they got to cut this thing off at Flynn because Flynn's connection is to the Russia involvement in the election. And that's what this whole thing is about. The whole case, the counterintelligence investigation into whether the Trump campaign officials had coordinated with the Russia 2016 election hinges on the testimony from Flynn. Because Flynn is the guy it's in there as the National Security Advisor during that week period when they're doing all this collaborating. So if they can break the Flynn case, they then knock the legs out of the counterintelligence case, and boom, they're free and clear. So they wind up with this thing in an appeals panel, and the appeals panel rules in favor of Flynn just this week. So Judge Sullivan is trying, I believe Judge Sullivan is trying to get the full appeals court to hear this. It's slightly confusing, a complete obfuscation which has you absolutely flummoxed. At the end of this article, they're talking about Roger Stone and how Roger Stone is going to begin his 40-month prison term in about a week. He tried to get it put off till September. The judge said, no way, you're going in 2 weeks. The 2 weeks is up, he's going in next week. So the judges who ruled on this panel also ruled, they didn't rule on the Roger Stone case. So I'm finishing reading this, I said, well, that's not really surprising. They didn't want to throw too much out at the same time, these guys, who it would look too suspicious. So I said to the wife earlier today, I said, I'll bet you before the week's out, or meaning next week, before next week's out and before he goes to jail, there's going to be another ruling from this court, and before you know it, Roger Stone isn't going to go to jail. Well, slap my hand and call me shorty. Roger Stone gets let off by Trump this afternoon. I walked up in between doing the show here, check out the Daily News Show, and Roger Stone is bada bing. He's let go. So he's not going into jail. He's been released. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read a little bit of a poem here because it's almost time up. Let me read a poem, something nice. Something nice. This is called The Alchemy of Love by Nadine Gay. That's her name. And it's called, this particular poem, I've been flipping on this all the way. It's called The Art of Doing Nothing. In Italy, it is called dolce far niente, the oh so exquisite practice of doing nothing. In France, the expression is c'est la couleur douce, which literally means to have life flow sweetly. In America, thanks to the pervasive Puritan influence, it is referred to as wasting time. The art of doing nothing in America is basically wasting time. We are very productive people. So yes, we crazy artists, poets, visionaries, we cultivate the art of doing nothing, which mostly requires solitude. For if we don't stand still and listen with our entire being, how could life astonish us over and over? Where would our art come from? The art of doing nothing. Seek some solitude, sit down with yourself for an hour, listen to your breath, feel your heart. Peace, patience, persistence. We'll see you next week. Hopefully next week we'll get a show out.